Hello and welcome to Books Central Inside the Pages. I'm Abby, your host, and today we're diving into the future of books with Tony Adams, a well-known expert in digital publishing and innovation. Tony, thanks for joining us today.
It's great to be here, Abby. I'm really looking forward to exploring where books are headed.
Brilliant. So much has shifted in the publishing world, and there's so much to cover. From augmented reality and VR to the digital revolution and even holographic book. Let's dive right in. Let's start with the big picture. We're living in the digital age, and it's transforming nearly every industry. For books and publishing, this has meant a whole new approach. What impact has the digital revolution had on books and publishing from your perspective, Tony? How has it changed the way people read and interact with stories?
The digital revolution has been huge for publishing, Abby, and it's transformed the way people think about books altogether. When we talk about the digital revolution, we're really talking about a shift from physical books to a more versatile, multi-format way of storytelling. E-books opened the doors for people to carry thousands of books in their pocket, making reading far more accessible and convenient. Then came audiobooks, which allowed readers to consume stories on the go while commuting, exercising, or even while cooking. It has allowed people to integrate books into their lives in ways that traditional print didn't always allow for. But it's not just about format. This revolution has empowered more voices to be heard through self-publishing. No longer do authors need to wait for approval from a major publisher to reach their audience. Digital platforms allow writers to publish independently and connect directly with readers. This has democratized the industry in a way we've never seen before.
It's incredible to think how access has widened and how that has brought a whole range of voices to the forefront. But do you think we've reached the peak of digital transformation in publishing, or are there more changes on the horizon? What's the next big shift you anticipate?
I think we're far from the peak, Abby. We're still in the early days of what digital storytelling can offer. One area where we're seeing massive growth is in personalized reading experiences. Technologies like artificial intelligence can shape stories to adapt based on the reader's past experiences, preferences, or even reading pace. Imagine a thriller novel that tracks how fast you're reading and adjusts the pacing of the narrative accordingly, or a romance that offers alternate endings based on your choices. This could really shift the boundaries of how we define reading itself. Beyond AI, augmented reality AR and virtual reality VR are beginning to redefine what we can do with books. These technologies make stories immersive, blending the lines between reading and experiencing. But we'll touch on that a bit later, I'm sure. In short, I think the possibilities are vast, and we're only scratching the surface.
You've touched on AR and VR, and I think that's something our listeners would love to hear more about. These technologies seem almost like science fiction, yet they're becoming a reality in our reading landscape. Could you break down what augmented reality and virtual reality are in the context of books? And how do you see AR and VR shaping the future of reading and storytelling?
Absolutely, Abby. Let's start with augmented reality, or AR. At its core, AR is about overlaying digital elements onto the physical world. You might have seen AR with mobile apps where you can view digital characters or objects through your phone's camera, as if they're part of your environment. When applied to books, AR can bring characters, objects, and even entire scenes to life on the page. Imagine reading a children's book where a character pops up in 3D right from the page, or being able to see a historical map transform into a living, breathing scene right in front of you. Virtual reality, or VR, takes it a step further by creating an entirely immersive experience. Unlike AR, which overlays digital information on the real world, VR places you directly in a fully digital world. So, let's say you're reading a thriller set in a haunted mansion. With VR, you could put on a headset and feel like you're walking through the creaky corridors, hearing whispers around you, and seeing flickering shadows. You're not just reading, you're fully immersed in that environment.
That sounds incredible, and I imagine it would be especially captivating for young readers or fans of immersive genres like fantasy and thriller. But what about accessibility? Not everyone has access to a VR headset, for instance. How are publishers and authors addressing these challenges?
You're absolutely right. Accessibility is a key challenge right now. Augmented reality is more accessible because it can be experienced on a smartphone or tablet, which most people already have. There are already apps that allow you to scan a page in a book and see digital content appear, whether it's a 3D image, a video, or even interactive quizzes. This makes AR more immediately available to a wider audience. VR is more complex, as it typically requires a headset. However, VR headsets are becoming more affordable, and mobile VR might soon allow people to have similar immersive experiences using just their phone and a low-cost headset. Some publishers are exploring ways to make VR books more universally accessible, but it will take time and advancement in tech. Over the next few years, as costs drop and the devices become easier to use, we'll likely see VR books becoming more commonplace.
Let's shift to another rapidly growing format: audiobooks. They've become incredibly popular in recent years, almost unexpectedly so. What is it about audiobooks that has made them such a phenomenon? How do they fit into the broader future of books?
Audiobooks have tapped into something fundamental about how we consume stories, Abbie. We live in a fast-paced world, and audiobooks cater to that. People can read while doing other things: commuting, exercising, cooking. Audiobooks make it possible to integrate books into daily life in ways that traditional reading might not. But it's more than just convenience. Audiobooks engage listeners differently. A skilled narrator can bring a story to life in a way that deepens the experience. Dialogue becomes more vivid when it's performed, and subtle emotions can be conveyed through tone and pacing. It becomes a sensory experience, especially when you add sound effects, music, and even multi-voice casts. Audiobooks turn stories into a performance, creating an immersive experience that's not far removed from radio plays of the past.
So it's almost like storytelling has come full circle, isn't it? Going back to oral traditions when stories were passed down verbally before the written word even existed.
Exactly. It's a modern-day version of sitting around a fire and hearing stories aloud. There's something deeply human about being told a story, and audiobooks tap into that tradition. And it's no surprise that sales of audiobooks are on the rise. People crave that kind of connection to stories. Plus, audiobooks are evolving, with the addition of enhanced features like ambient sounds or music, making it even more of a cinematic experience.
We've spoken about different formats, but let's dive into the concept of interactivity. Beyond AR and VR, how are books evolving to become more interactive and enhanced? What does that look like?
Interactive reading is one of the most exciting areas of innovation. Imagine a book where you can make choices that affect the story, similar to a choose-your-own-adventure, but digital and much more dynamic. Interactive e-books are becoming popular, especially in children's literature, where readers can tap on images to reveal hidden details, listen to characters speak, or choose what happens next. Enhanced e-books are taking it a step further by adding multimedia elements: videos, music, hyperlinks to extra content. These enhanced books work well for educational content, cookbooks, travel guides, or even memoirs. For example, a memoir could include video snippets of real-life events or personal audio recordings from the author.
So it's almost like a cross between a book and an app, creating an experience that goes beyond traditional reading?
That's exactly it. It bridges the gap between book and app, and it's all about engagement. Interactive features pull readers deeper into the story, encouraging them to explore the world that the author has created. This not only enriches the experience but makes reading feel like an adventure. It's particularly exciting for younger audiences who are growing up with smartphones and are already accustomed to interactive content.
Alright, let's go even further into the future. I know holographic books are something that's still in the experimental phase, but it's fascinating to think about. Tony, is this really something we might see soon, or are holographic books more of a distant dream?
We're closer than most people think, Abbie. The concept of holographic books is actually being explored by some innovative tech companies. In simple terms, a holographic book would use projectors or special displays to project 3D images that appear to pop off the page. Imagine a fantasy book where a dragon flies out of the page or a history book where a battle scene unfolds before you. It's like stepping into the story without needing a screen or headset.
That sounds incredible, but I imagine there must be some big challenges to making holographic books widely available.
Yes, there are definitely challenges. First, the technology is still very expensive and complex. Holography requires a lot of computing power and specialized projectors, so making it practical for the average consumer will take some time. Another challenge is making it user-friendly, so that you don't need an advanced setup to experience it. But as with any technology, costs will eventually come down, and it's possible we'll see holographic experiences integrated into books within the next decade.
One of the biggest shifts we've seen over the past decade has been in the author-reader relationship. Social media and digital platforms have allowed readers to connect directly with authors in ways that were unimaginable before. How do you see this relationship evolving in the future?
Social media has fundamentally changed the dynamic between authors and readers, and it's made the relationship more personal and immediate. Now, readers expect to connect with authors directly, whether through social media, live Q&As, or virtual book clubs. It builds a sense of community and loyalty. When authors engage directly with their readers, it helps readers feel more connected to the story and the person who created it.
But not every author is comfortable with this level of interaction. For authors who find it challenging to balance social engagement with writing time, what advice would you give?
It can be a balancing act, definitely. Not every author wants to share their daily life, and that's fine. Some authors find success by setting clear boundaries, such as having office hours for engagement or using newsletters to communicate with readers. It's important to stay authentic. Readers value transparency and genuine interaction over forced social media posts. It's about finding the right balance that allows you to build those connections while still protecting your creative time.
With so many books available now, the marketplace can feel quite crowded, and marketing has become a real challenge for authors. In your experience, what are the key trends in book marketing right now? What do authors need to do to stand out?
Book marketing has become almost as crucial as the book itself, Abbie. Some key trends include targeted social media ads, engaging video content, partnerships with influencers, and live virtual events. Short videos, like book trailers, are particularly effective because they're easily shareable and offer readers a quick, visual insight into the story. One powerful technique is storytelling through marketing. Instead of just promoting a book, authors are sharing personal stories, behind-the-scenes insights, or background on what inspired the book. This engages readers on an emotional level and piques their interest.
So storytelling has now extended to the marketing itself. Do you think this has become almost as important as the book's content?
In some ways, yes. Without a compelling marketing strategy, even the best book can go unnoticed. Marketing needs to capture the essence of the story, make it intriguing, and reach readers where they are. Successful marketing now often means going beyond just telling people about the book. It's about creating a narrative around the author's journey, the themes of the book, and the experience of reading it.
Tony, thank you so much for joining us today. Your insights on the future of books are both fascinating and inspiring. I know our listeners will be looking forward to experiencing these innovations themselves.
Thank you, Abbie. It was wonderful being here and sharing these ideas. The future of books is bright and filled with possibilities, and I'm thrilled to see where it takes us.
And to all our listeners, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Books Central Inside the Pages. We hope you enjoyed this glimpse into the future of books. Don't forget to subscribe and join us next time as we dive deeper into the ever-evolving world of literature and publishing. Until then, keep reading, exploring, and imagining. Goodbye.